Thank you for joining us today for Sandy Says. My name is Sandy Dematurgic, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Schizophrenia and Psychosis Action Alliance. Schizophrenia Alliance Psychosis Support and Acceptance, or SA, is a self-help, peer-led support group for people with schizophrenia-related illnesses, including bipolar disorder with psychosis, schizoaffective disorder with psychosis, or actually schizoaffective disorder regardless, depression with psychosis, or experience with psychosis. We hold groups in different formats, including in person, by conference call, or by Zoom or Google Meet video. We also have closed Facebook groups and have partnered with Inspire.com. The Schizophrenia Alliance groups were started in 1985 by Joanne Verbanek, who had schizophrenia. Then called Schizophrenics Anonymous, the groups were based with permission from AA, the 12-step program. She changed the groups to the 6 steps of recovery, and thousands of people have been helped in recovery since then. For the regular SA groups and the SA Faith Inclusive groups, we use the Blue Book, which includes meeting format, 6 steps of recovery, articles, and other personal stories of recovery with the help of the SA groups. Schizophrenia and Psychosis Action Alliance manages the SA groups, and I, Sandy Dematurgic, coordinate the groups as part of my role as Director of Community Engagement. We also have a non-step SA4S group, which stands for Schizophrenia Spectrum Sharing and Support, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. In this group, we don't discuss the steps, higher power, religion, nor spirituality. This group was created because not everybody feels comfortable talking about these topics or shares these belief systems. In fact, some people have religious delusions, so it is nice to have a place where they feel safe. If you are interested in starting a group or helping out as a facilitator, we do provide training. The meetings last from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. This group today is a mock regular SA group with the 6 steps of recovery. In a normal group, we would require that members keep confidential what is said unless there is an emergency. Let's begin. Hi, my name is Sandy, and I will be the SA group leader. My co-leader is Steve. There is an age restriction of 18 or older to participate in the groups. Though each member is not required to share, there is a requirement of giving your first name. Let's start with reading an affirmation from The Promise of a New Day from Karen Casey and Martha Vansberg. Today's April 3rd. Time is a dressmaker specializing in alterations by Faith Baldwin. We are learning as we go, and the experiences shed light on our own plans for proceeding. The steps we are taking in unison, as well as on separate but parallel paths, enhance the particular movements of us all. We often expect perfection from ourselves, forgetting that we're all beginners in life. The best we can do is willingly acknowledge our errors, grateful that we can always begin again on any task, grateful that we have the experiences of others to help guide us. Life is process. We learn, we grow, share burdens, reformulate ideas, and restructure our values. Every change we make alters the steps we take, altering in turn someone else's movements too. Today I'll discover a change I need to make, one that will reach further than my own tasks. Okay, so we're going to say that we've got new leaders today. So this is the book, which you can order as a hard copy for $10 or an electronic file for $5. Okay, Steve, could you read the first 2 paragraphs on page 3?
All right. Essays, welcome statement to newcomers. We welcome you as a newcomer to Schizophrenia Alliance, SA. We realize that you might not have much experience in self-help peer support groups and might feel uncomfortable Please be at ease and try to be open to this new experience. One thing we want to express is a sense of hope. Over the years, SA members have realized that people with schizophrenia and related illnesses are capable of making giant strides in recovery and are able to find a place for themselves in the world. Life has promise, even with those who live with our challenging illness.
Thank you, Steve. Brenda, could you read the next paragraph?
Please be aware that the illness is not your fault. The illness is not the result of some weakness in your character or personality defect. Rather, according to the best information from the scientific community, schizophrenia is a genetically influenced neural circuitry base brain illnesses involving neurocircuitry illnesses and sometimes tissue irregularities. About 90% of people with schizophrenia improve with medical treatment, and new scientific research offers hope for all those with the illness.
Thank you, Grace. Can you read the fourth paragraph?
Please feel at home here. The meetings are confidential. This meeting is here to help sustain you. You are not alone anymore. You are accepted here. Those who live with schizophrenia and related neurological illnesses have a whole world of experiences that others don't know about. For instance, have you heard voices or seen visions? So have other SA members. Have you had grand or strange ideas about yourself or your surroundings? So have other SA members. Have you thought the CIA or FBI was after you, or that the television or radio was talking to you? So have other SA members. Have you talked to psychiatrists, been in psychiatric hospitals, taken antipsychotic medications, or had trouble side effects from these medications? So have we. Have you lost jobs because of the illness or have been personally devalued by others because of it? So have we.
Jennifer, are you able to read, or do you want me to read the last paragraph on page 3?
I don't have the book, so.
Oh, okay. We have these things and others in common. In a way, it's like a homecoming. You are welcome here. We will be here each week if you choose to join us. Please purchase a blue book so that you can follow along in the meetings and work on the 6 steps by yourself.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was on mute. Now we'll read the
Okay.
amended group guidelines. Number 1, maintain an attitude of caring, fellowship, and support. Number 2, responses to others must be non-judgmental. Number 3, one person speaks at a time. Late callers may not be able to share. Number 4, leaders will manage group conflicts and disruptions. Members can be muted if necessary. Number 5, we are a support group only. If you're in crisis, you may be referred to your physician, therapist, or the suicidal hotline available 24/7 at 1-800-273-8255. The crisis text line by texting home to 741-741 or 911 or 988, the new mental health crisis line. We and the members care about you and want the best for you. Number 6, abusive talk is not tolerated, nor discussion of illicit drugs or discussion of sex, politics, or religion. No cursing. Shares must be relevant to how the 6 steps help people in their recovery. Number 7, confidentiality will be maintained. What is shared in the group stays in the group. In emergencies, confidentiality will not be upheld. And then I also read the mission statement because the last sentence says, it is important to show respect to the leaders and other members by sharing how the 6 steps help in recovery. I then also read this sentence from the Blue Book on page 15 of the 2023 version because it says, and at the same time, let's have everyone who cares to report on how their week went or any other subject they wish to share about as it relates to the 6 steps of recovery within the group guidelines. Finally, let's read the 6 steps of recovery. Steve, could you read the first 2?
Step 1, I surrender. I admit I need help. I can't do it alone. Step 2, I choose. I choose to be well. I take full responsibility for my choices and realize the choices I make directly influence the quality of my days.
Thank you. Brenda, could you read 3 and 4?
Step 3, I believe. I now come to believe that I have been provided with great inner resources, and I will use these resources to help myself and others. Step 4, I forgive. I forgive myself for all the mistakes I have made. I also forgive and release everyone who has injured or harmed me in any way.
Thank you. Grace, can you read 5 and 6?
Step 5, I understand. I now understand that erroneous, self-defeating thinking contributes to my problems, failures, unhappiness, and fears. I'm ready to have my belief system altered so my life can be transformed. Step 6, I decide. I make a decision to turn my life over to the care of a higher power as I understand the higher power, surrendering my will and false beliefs. I ask to be changed in depth.
Okay, so because this is a mock group, we're just going to go through each person quickly just to show what it's like. Let's start with Steve. Steve, what step or steps do you relate to and how has your week been?
My step is step 1, I surrender. I mean, I need help. I can't do this alone. Sometimes I need help with basic things like with my disorganized thinking that I get from my schizoaffective. That sometimes I know when I get tired or I get overwhelmed, my head is not on straight and I can't focus.
Okay, thank you, Steve, for being on the call today and recognizing you can't do it alone. Does anybody have any comments for Steve?
I think you do a great job, Steve. You know, as a member, and I think you're a leader. And that was an interesting share for me.
Okay, let's go on to Brenda. Brenda, what step or steps do you relate to and how has your week been?
My week's been okay. I'm trying to get a internet provider, and it's a little stressful. I'm not used to talking to people, so but I do have resources, and so I choose step 3. I believe. I now come to believe that I have been provided with great inner resources, and I will use these resources to help myself and others. So I step up to the challenge.
Well, Brenda, that's great that you recognize you have inner resources. I think that's so important to know that you can contribute to society in some way. Does anybody have any comments for Brenda? Yes, Steve.
Brenda, I believe is a great step because for me, I'm in the same situation, finding an online, you know, if that's what you're talking about, an online provider. And yeah, I can understand how confusing and how difficult it may be.
Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer, it's your turn. You don't have to say a step. You can just share or not share at all. It's up to you.
My main issue is being judged. Like, when I tell people what I have, I get totally judged. Like, when I tell people that I'm not working right now, I get judged. So that's really an issue for me.
Well, Jennifer, the stigma can be really difficult. In fact, on page 26, Joanne Verbanik said, the stigma is harder to deal with than the illness itself. So,
Okay.
yeah, so it can be difficult. Does anybody have any comments for Jennifer?
Just I'm sorry, Jennifer, that you feel that you're getting judged. I hope someday that you're not judged.
Well, it just seems like, I get judged every time, that I open up and tell people what I have. They see me in a different light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
can
like
Oh, go ahead,
Go
Brenda.
ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, and like Sandy said about the stigma, well, I just feel that I think somewhere in the book it says stigma is harder to deal with than the illness itself. And so maybe we all have stigma, and this group will help Jennifer with that.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I usually, I feel like I'm being treated like a handicap, that people think I can't do certain things because of my illness.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't tell people that I have an illness. Yeah.
And I guess for me, I have hope that in the future, we'll be able to share that type of information without people judging us. I know I had a friend who told me she couldn't be friends with me anymore because she found my life on disability too depressing. I mean, that's really difficult.
Yeah, that is sad.
Yeah, so, well, thank you, Jennifer, for being on the call today. Grace, it's your turn. What step or steps do you relate to, if any, and how has your week been?
I relate to number 2. I choose to be well. I take full responsibility for my choices and realize the choices I make directly influence the quality of my days. I relate to that because I take medicine every day, because I'm choosing to be well. I know if I don't sleep well, I don't do as well and the quality of my days is bad. So I choose to sleep well. My week kind of slow, nothing specifically going on or anything bad going on. It's just a regular week.
Okay, well, Grace, I'm glad that you're having a regular week, and that's what we all are trying to have. Anybody have any, yes, Steve?
Grace, I think that, like Cindy said, having a normal week is great. It's I have, if I have paranoia at night, I wake up a little frazzled and a little disorganized, that I can't get myself together all throughout the day. But I totally agree that my sleep does affect how I be well in the day.
Okay, and since this is a mock video, we're going to go ahead and just read the long version of step 1. Let's see, Steve, on page 17, could you read the first paragraph?
Right, page 17. All right. Step 1, I admit I need help. I can't do it alone. It is not easy to accept that one has a mental illness, especially if it's schizophrenia or related illness. Even when we accept this, secure may be another hurdle to admit to others in the group. Yet, in order to recover through the program, we must accept that we have the illness. We do this in order to break down the denial that hinders our growth towards wholeness.
Thank you, Steve. Brenda, can you read the second paragraph on page 17?
Yes. How does the prospective member know that they have schizophrenia or a related illness? Sometimes they discover it from a clinician's diagnosis. Other times, the person experiences psychotic symptoms that cannot be denied. They might involve hearing voices that others don't hear, believing that they are an exalted person, or believing within reason that they are being persecuted. There are a number of other symptoms, including disorganized thinking, apathy, thought insertions, thought broadcasting, and others.
Thank you. Grace, could you read the last paragraph?
If a person has these symptoms and can't admit that they have schizophrenia or a related illness, the first step might be to at least admit that they have psychotic symptoms and proceed from there. Admitting at least as much often leads to a great deal of relief for the prospective new member. The group will provide support when acceptance of symptoms is made. We encourage the prospective member not to view this form of surrender as a defeat, but rather as a challenge in the process of recovery.
Thank you. And in the back of the book, starting on page 30, we have over 50 personal stories of how SA has helped members. And today we'll read the story of Joanne Verbanek, the founder of SA. I'll start. In 1970, I experienced my first psychotic break with symptoms of hearing voices, delusions, hallucinations, and paranoia. I was under a great deal of stress that contributed to the breakdown. I was taken by ambulance to the state hospital because the voices were telling me to kill myself, and I attempted suicide. For some reason, I was transferred to a private psychiatric hospital. I was totally out of reality. Steve, can you read the next paragraph?
I received medication and 18 electroshock treatments. My mother thought she had lost me. I stayed the length of insurance would allow me, 45 days, and the doctor recommended I go to a state hospital for long-term care. I chose to go home because I had 2 young sons at home.
Brenda, can you read the next paragraph?
The next year it happened again. I had another so-called nervous breakdown and was hospitalized for 30 days. I continued individual psychotherapy and medication. I started improving in my recovery. Prior to my breakdown, I worked 7 years at Modern Finance Corporation as a clerk. I was getting divorced, so I needed a better position. I applied to Ford Motor Credit Company as a cashier, and 30 days later, I was hired. I thought my troubles were over and that it would never happen again. In 14 years, I had 5 hospitalizations. However, I had 5 promotions. Ford Motor Credit was not aware of my schizophrenia, but they did not stigmatize me when they knew I was in the psychiatric hospital.
Thank you. Grace, can you read the rest?
I wanted to help the less fortunate people with schizophrenia. I started to do volunteer work in 1984, and I was asked to go public to help erase stigma. I appeared on national TV and radio with Dr. E. Fuller Torrey, and I've spoken around the country to educate the public. In July of 1985, I founded Schizophrenia Alliance. With the help of other caring people, we now have over 175 groups nationally and some internationally. I have made a lifetime commitment to helping the mentally ill with all my heart and soul. I will continue in this endeavor as long as I live.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Grace.
Do I keep reading the last sentence?
Yes, yes.
Joanne fulfilled her lifelong mission until the day she died on May 7th, 2015.
Thank you. Okay, so the last thing we do is conclude with the Serenity Prayer, which we're just going to skip today since it's a mock group. Thank you, Steve, for being my co-leader. Thank you, Brenda, Grace, and Jennifer for joining us and helping out. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, call the office at 240-423-9432 or email info@sczaction.org. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss a Sandy Says video. Thanks. Bye.